Hello guys, this video I'm going to show you how you can use the Voxel sculpting brushes. Before that, I want to show you the difference between surface sculpting and Voxel sculpting and clear up some confusion. So guys, if you press W, that goes into wireframe mode. If you're in surface mode, when you stretch things out, as you can see, it just kind of gets worse and worse, right? But if you are in Voxel mode, then you can kind of move things out and keep moving things out. You can see it automatically topologizes every time. So it's always ready for more detail. And really nice abstract shapes. So before we get into the voxel sculpting, I just wanted to explain that there are ways to kind of quickly remesh things on the fly when using surface sculpting. All right? So let me say, for example, I'm using this, and I'll press spacebar, and I'll go ahead and use the move tool. All right, and I'll go ahead and begin to move this out. You can press W for the wireframe, and notice how, just like I previously showed you, we're getting this happening here. As you can see, it becomes very difficult to work with this, right? So there are two ways to just kind of quickly remesh this. Think of this if you use ZBrush like a Dynamesh. So you can go ahead and go into Windows, actually Geometry, and then use the resample right here. So this is where you tell it what you want your poly count to be and the quality. We can do, for example, smooth or rough. Once you click on OK, guys, as you can see, it's going to go ahead and remesh this. Let's go ahead and use a simpler resampling. Let's go ahead and make it like 50,000. All right. So as you can see, guys, we can now continue to work with this and smooth it out. Right, but of course, guys, I think it's much better as instead of doing this in surface mode, surface sculpting mode, it's better to go into the voxel mode. Right now, the other way that, guys, that you can quickly remesh this is, you see right here in the sculpt tree, it shows you your objects, and it says right now, you see there's an S right here. Let me go ahead and zoom in on that. All right, you see how it says S? S means surface. Now, if you click on this, you have an option to switch this to a voxel mode, and once you do that, it automatically kind of retopologizes, right? Now when I click on OK, you're going to notice it retopologizes this, and we're now switched to voxel mode right here, right? You can see it's a V now. Once I'm ready, I can click on this again, and it'll switch back to surface mode. We now notice how the topology is much clearer now. We can continue to work with this. So that's one way. I mean, it's kind of stretched out here, but you know, it's pretty much clean as opposed to what it previously was, which was like this or like that, very messy. But guys, it's best just to work in the voxel mode and then go ahead and do surface sculpting for those small kind of wrinkle details and pores and things like that, right? So another thing I wanted to show you is if we do switch this to volume mode or voxel mode, is that some of the tools here, guys, are similar, because the way 3DCoat works is that it has these workspaces with different tools, and sometimes the two different workplaces have the same tools. So for example, if I go into, let me just do a new scene here. Let me just do surface sculpting. Right, you notice I have the surface tools right here. You know, clay, build up, rapid, smart pinch, all that. Now, if I go ahead and create a new scene again, and this time I select voxel sculpting, you notice we have clay engine, that's unique. Voxel tools, that's unique, but then we also have surface right here. So just don't get confused, guys. Sometimes you can have the same tools in different workspaces because they're still compatible there. So when you're doing the voxel sculpting, some of these surface tools can still come in handy. Or you can start with the voxel sculpting and the clay for, you know, the freeform design, and then you can go ahead and retopologize and switch to the surface right away. All right. So guys, pretty much a lot of these are just some nice voxel clay sculpting brushes. A lot of them are very similar to each other, but let's go ahead and go through all of them just to give you a quick demonstration. So if I click on, for example, base clay, you're going to notice all these settings, but when I click on, for example, wet clay, it's all gone. Well, it's still all here, it's just that it's been contracted here. To open it up, you simply click on the edit brush parameters here. Now guys, there's lots of options here that you won't really see much of a difference. So for this more simple video, I'm not going to cover all these settings here because This is like for power experienced users. A lot of times you won't really see much of a difference when using this. All right, so we can actually just hide that. All right, so first we have the base clay. Let's also press S and enable symmetry and X symmetry and turn off the symmetry plane. All right, so remember, if you right click and then hold right, that's size, right click and up and down, that's the strength. All right, so base clay, guys, let's also go ahead and press space and increase resolution. So base clay, guys, is pretty much your basic voxel sculpting brush. Now you're going to notice that as we sculpt further out, it's going to just retopologize in real time. So you don't need to go ahead and use redynamesh or have any kind of hotkey for that. It's going to go ahead and keep on redynameshing by itself. If you want to use that term, redynamesh. Right, W for the wireframe. Right, next we have wet clay. This is like a more sloppy version of clay. All right, next we have smart pinch and pinch. These are good, guys, if you're doing some more hard surface sculpting or if you need a creature with a sharper part to it. So for example, if I use base clay and then raise up some areas here. All right, now I can go ahead and use pinch. Now the big difference between pinch and smart pinch is that the regular pinch will tend to pinch all together like this, whereas smart pinch will tend to preserve the edges more. So if you're going to do some more hard surface sculpting, I recommend using the smart pinch instead. It's going to do a much better job of maintaining the angles here. Whereas if I use the regular pinch, it's going to just do that, see that? Whereas smart pinch will do this. All right, next we have the usual clay. So guys, several of these brushes are very similar. You will find that base clay, wet clay, usual clay, and then soft clay, very similar. It's almost like just different levels of intensity here. So for example, if you use base clay, you get that. If you use usual clay, you kind of get that. So there are kind of subtle differences here, guys. Now, if you're familiar with real life sculpting with clay, you may have a better understanding of this. But for most of us, we just kind of see them as being very similar. All right. Next we have flatten. This also works together with smart pinch for hard surface sculpting. This, of course, just kind of flattens things out. Remember, you can hold down, if you left click, it kind of goes inwards, control, it kind of goes outwards, just like in ZBrush. Alright guys, so where are the alphas? Well, if you go into Windows, Panels, and go into Brushes, here are your alphas right here. If you're doing some more hard surface stuff, you can go ahead and switch to, for example, the square one. And you'll notice that now the alpha will actually display when you're working with it. However, guys, be aware that not all brushes utilize the alphas. For example, if I go into base clay and I switch to a different alpha, it's going to say this tool does not depend on the alpha. So if I'm using base clay and I use the round one, I get this. If I use this one here, I get the same result. If I use this one here, I get the same result. So by default, base clay does not depend on the alphas. It still shows up here, but it will not actually change it for this brush. Alright, so flattens things out. You may want to use like a more square alpha for doing flattening. Alright, so soft clay, like a softer version of clay. So guys, for example, if I use the base clay and I just left click and hold, we'll notice you get all this buildup happening here. But if I use soft clay and I just left click and hold, same pressure, you notice it's much more gradual here. So as you can see, it kind of just like softens everything here. I think it's very good for subtle changes here, building up, I don't know, things like fat or very gradual muscle definition. So it's definitely a lot more for the finishing touches on your mesh. Like the way different muscle groups and the skin kind of join together. So for example, if you're building up muscle, you would first, for example, use the base clay, right? That'll be your basic muscle right there. And you kind of, you know, build up your muscle groups here. And then you would use, for example, soft clay when you get to those kind of like gradual transition to the muscle and the skin. And you kind of you know, smooth them together once you got the major muscle groups in place. See, now you're getting that much more subtle effect. All right, guys. Next we have thick layer. With this one, once you left click and hold, it's not going to build up past the initial point. See? If I let go and then click again, it's going to have a new layer. If I left click and hold again, it's going to have a new layer here. This is in stark contrast to Vox Buildup, which is like a more extreme version of previous tools, where it just goes way out here. As you can see, it just kind of goes way out there. So, you know, very good for things like horns and other things that just kind of go out very far. It's almost like a very quick move tool in a way. Vox Extrude. I think this one's very good for alphas. And also Vox Skin is useful for skin pores and things like that. Obviously here it kind of looks strange. So it can either be used for some very nice skin alphas, or it can be used for quickly dragging out the mesh like this. So basically guys, with Voxel Skin you can press E and use one of these settings here. And then you can go ahead and select the skin alpha, and depending on the alpha you choose, it allows you to both add positive detail, positive extrusion, and negative extrusion as well. So you have to kind of see which one of these skin alphas supports that, but if you do that, you'll be able to have both a positive and negative result. Alright guys, to change the lighting, you hold down Shift and then left click here, and you can actually rotate the lighting right here. Alright. So, now that we've got that, let me show you how you can use different types of modes here. Alright, so to access this, you either click on here or you press E. So guys, if you're using a tablet, you may want to have different options here. If you use the first one here, it's the radius and depth pressure. So with this, guys, if I use the tablet pen very hard, I get a very wide result. If I decrease the pressure, as you can see, it becomes more narrow. See, I can modulate between narrowness and largeness just by changing the tablet pressure. Alright, you may want this sometimes, but sometimes you may not want that, in which case you can use a different one. For example, this one is the depth and opacity. As you can see, we don't have the width anymore, right? So with the first one here, it modulates the width. Let me increase resolution even more. Alright, so with the first one, guys, here, as you can see, it modulates the width, right? With the second one here, pressing E, it does not do that. It keeps the width the same, but it does change the strength, depending on how you press the tablet. Let's do the third one here, which is depth and opacity. Alright, and then we've got the fourth one here. So if you guys are not seeing much of a difference here, it's because a lot of these are meant to be used with colors. Once you get into painting colors and materials here, you'll understand why we have these other ones here as well, because sometimes you may just want to have like a, you know, if you're adding red to a creature, for example, you may want to be able to have a little bit of red and a lot of red depending on your pressure. If you want consistency, guys, go ahead and use this fifth option here. Here, even if you use a tablet, it's going to maintain the same as if you're using a mouse. So sometimes you can use, guys, for example, a tablet. So if I use a mouse, obviously all that's disabled. I'm just using the mouse, right? No matter which one I use, there is no difference because it's all using the sensitivity, and the mouse don't have that. But if I use the tablet, that will come into play, right? But let's say I don't want that. Well, then I can use the 5th option here, and that will make your talent behave like a mouse, essentially. Alright, next we have these little lines here. So essentially, guys, you left click and then you left click again, and now it'll create a stroke in between that. Alright, next we have this one here, which you can kind of get a curved line here. Next we have this one here, which is kind of a line that goes like so. And you press enter to have it be initialized. So you kind of get to like drag a line in between your mesh. And then you can kind of press enter to initialize that. Alright, now these here are for using alphas here. So let me go ahead and use an alpha like something like this here. Alright. If I use this option here, allow me to rotate, so you can rotate like so. And if I use this option here, it just kind of, depending on the size, it just kind of places it down here. Right, and then all these here, I think are more useful when you're doing the other voxel tools. Even though you can kind of use them here, it doesn't really make as much sense. Because it pretty much turns all the brushes into the same brush. The same kind of subtraction brush. So these tools here on the right, these options make more sense when using other voxel tools like voxel, hide, or cut. Alright guys, next video I'll go ahead and show you how you can put these tools into practice. We'll go ahead and make a lion sculpture. Thank you for watching and take care.